Jai, जाओ. Okay. Good evening and welcome back for our next session. So this is the fifth session of the workshop and the second of the day. We will now present a session on the do's and don'ts of digital content creation by Dr. Uma Shankar Pandey, Associate Professor and Head of the Department of Mass Communication and Journalism, Shurendranath College for Women. Dr. Uma Shankar Pandey is an esteemed academic and media professional with over 2 decades of experience. With over 2 decades of experience, Dr. Uma Shankar Pandey has significantly contributed to the field as a PhD supervisor at the University of Calcutta and the first India ambassador for the International Association for Media and Communication Research. Dr. Pandey is also a former senior journalist with the Asian Age in Kolkata and serves as the editor-in-chief of Media Watch journal, Sage Publishers. A recipient of the Best Media Educator of India Award from Business World, Dr. Pandey has authored 4 books and over 25 research papers. He is also a content creator with 155 educational videos on media and communication and has presented MOOCs and other formal online courses. His research interests includes artificial intelligence in media, data journalism, and social network analysis. Dr. Pandey is a proficient trainer conducting workshops across India on various media-related topics for corporate communicators, journalists, and students. He is also a visiting faculty member at national and international universities. Dr. Uma Shankar Pandey, our next speaker. Before we start the presentation, I would request Father Julian Das to please come and felicitate our next speaker, Dr. Uma Shankar Pandey. May we now please have the lights of the dais off for the presentation to begin. Thank you.
Hello friends. Before I begin, I just need to know a bit about you. I know you've been having a lot of technical sessions before that. So before I start, I think I should... Is this working? So I hope you get internet connection here. You just need to, oh, this is fine. Oh. So just need to open menti.com on your mobile phone and use this CVV code there. Not the CVV code, right? That's just the Mentimeter code 89108801. So can I very quickly just get to know about what discipline you are from, so that I'll be... Did I get any response here? It's a problem?
Yeah, inside the hall the connectivity.
Oh, it's not working? Oh, mine was working. So I should skip this?
Some networks may not work inside.
Not even one?
Some will work. Mine one is working.
Okay, at least one is working. And that is social science. Bravo. 89108801. Okay, 2 from social science. Wonderful. 3 social science. 1 from life science as well. Wonderful. Is that all? Only 4 connections? Oh, one from humanities, one from basic sciences. Fine. Okay. You just need to open menti.com and use 89108801. I have 10 responses. I've been told by the organizers that people who are responding here will get an additional certificate or something. I don't know. Okay, so we have 12 here. Right, so this is fair enough. Right, so quite a few from basic sciences, but it's like divided. So I have a presentation here. Based on this input, I'll try and kind of spread out and make it relevant for everybody, because this is not a very technical session. We are just going to have more from the application side here. I think that's fair enough. Or are we waiting for more? So we have about 7 from pure sciences and about 9 or 10 from social science and humanities. Is that enough? Is there anyone else still addressing? No.
One more from social sciences.
One more? Oh, thank you so much. Anyone else who hasn't responded? Social science? Wow, great. Anyone from basic sciences who's not responded? Basic science, quite a few. Right. Okay. Right. But on the record, social science wins. So I stop it here. Wonderful. So I'll begin my presentation from here. At times we might have questions from you, because or we want some responses from you, because just to make sure that you haven't gone off to sleep in this cozy environment. So I will just at times try and shake you up. I'm sure we've heard about the Turing test over the last 1 or 2 days, and by now we know that AI has has kind of passed that test in many ways. In fact, there has been quite a few research papers recently where people were asked to identify, on the basis of the content, whether it has been written by AI or whether it has been written by a human being. People could not differentiate the one written by AI. So it is getting better. Just to go back to AI a bit, 2 or 3 things very importantly. This question is not for basic sciences. This is for everyone. How is AI different from regular computer coding? How is it different from regular computer coding? Anyone? What are the differences? I mean, we've had computer programs and software and everything. How is AI different from that? In common sense terms, no technical terms. Yeah? Interactivity? Okay, wonderful. Previous data is needed. Wonderful. Okay, very quickly. And it can make its own decisions. Wonderful. It is pre-programmed. Wonderful. So basically, computer. I mean, again, this is not for basic sciences. This is for the rest of the gang here. When we talk of when you talk of programs, or when you talk of these software, etc., it works on an if-then-else logic. If something has 4 legs, if something meows, if something hates human beings, if something has fur, then it is a cat. You have these if-then logic. That is how it works, and it is kind of etched in stone. It's there. There can't be any. I mean, there are of course differences, but that's how basically a computer program runs. It works on an if-then-else logic. What happens with AI machine learning? You feed the program with hundreds and thousands and more cat pictures of all dimensions, so that the next time the program wants to identify a cat from so many other breeds of animals, it can very quickly identify that. Now there are certain differences here as compared to the program. Number one, it organically grows. It organically grows in the sense that, based on our inputs, it keeps getting better. It keeps changing. Whenever they ask us, did I do right? Did I do wrong? What do you say? Based on all these inputs, it gets better. Because there have been, quite a few comical cases where somebody has responded in a sarcastic manner to a chat box maybe. Oh, you got my train late. I'm so happy, I had to sleep on the platform for, 50 hours, and I had such a wonderful time enjoying nature. I did not have food, I could meditate, this and that. This is sarcastic. Do you get the situation? The person, was made to miss his train or a flight or whatever, and is sarcastically telling them that, how bad you were without using all the bad terms. What does the chatbot reply? Initially, now it doesn't. We're so glad you had this experience. We'll make sure the next time you have the same experience. Please keep coming back to us for this same experience. It did not understand sarcasm at that point of time. But when somebody tells it that, this is how it is, it gets better. Now it can understand sarcasm. It gets better. So it organically grows. You've been taught about, there have been many sessions where, there have been sessions on supervised learning, unsupervised learning, etc. You know all that. That, the Google algorithm would know how to put it into spam. Whenever a Nigerian prince offers me the $1 million that some old uncle left with him and I never got to know about it, Google knows it's spam and, it labels it as spam. It's trained on these things. And it can, give you an output based on that, whatever it has been trained on. With programs like ChatGPT, for example, I'll come back to ChatGPT also. There are lots of do's and don'ts also. So don't worry, I'm just, setting this stage for the next few slides. ChatGPT can even, or, programs like these large language models or many of these machine learning models, they can also answer you like a smart student, who hasn't studied anything based on whatever, he tries to bring up some answer, during the Viva or whatever. Something on which, it's called few shot learning or even on zero shot learning, it will try and, get some kind of an answer. It's not just that it has been trained. I'm sure, you know about all the billions of data points that large language models are trained on, etc. I don't want to get into that. But the point is that even if it hasn't been trained on something, because there is this zero-shot learning or there is this few-shot learning, it can, try and that's why, you have all those cases of hallucination. But it keeps getting better, as we say. Now, we know all these large language models have been trained on billions and billions of digital documents, lot of which are online. Unfortunately, much of this online data can be abusive, can be racist, can be, all the bad terms, There are a lot of psychology experiments that when I have something bad to say, I go to the internet and I just ventilate myself out. So if the training data set is based on all these things, if the training set is kind of abusive or racist or whatever, output would have been even worse. That's why you have human reinforcement. That's why you had people from Kenya and all other places working on $2 a day, trying to label things as abusive or those kind of things. So there has been the human reinforcement part here as well. So just to rewind, number one, it organically grows, keeps on growing, based on our responses. It keeps on getting better because it's not static. So it's based on all these things, it keeps on its reinforcements. Second, it also has elements for, as I said, even zero-shot learning, things which it hasn't been trained on. It can try and, get something based on that as well. And finally, as I said, this is, something that will, lead to a lot of those situations that I'm going to talk about. But right now, Turing test, in many cases, it is passing, so good for us. I'm sure everybody knows that GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, right? Generative pre-trained transformer. You knew about that, right? Yes? Okay, so some people are not sleeping. Thank you so much. Right. So this is the transformer technology where based on your inputs you get certain kinds of it tries to understand the context. It tries to generate language considering the context of the words, and that's why we have we people from social science or humanities, we try and appropriate science wherever we can. So we have a discipline called media sciences. There's nothing scientific about that except that so we have designed a new kind of a field and we call it prompt engineering. It's just about putting the right words in the right context, with the right kind of alignment, and we call it engineering. But anyway, it's like garbage in, garbage out. So if we just utilize these large language models for automating a lot of those tasks, probably it might not be useful. So now we are going into the part of the digital content creation. Now this is very, this kind of sounds very cliched, or it might even as be quite common sense. But very, very important to understand the preferences of the audience, because there are a lot of these cognitive biases at place. A lot of these biases we have. Has anyone read this book called Fast Thinking, Slow Thinking by Kahneman and Tversky? Anyone? Oh, Devanjanda, of course. One more, right. So we are basically cognitive misers. We do not want to spend a lot of cognitive energy on a lot of things. So just based on certain heuristics, we try and make judgments. Okay, so this is having this word, so this would mean that kind of a thing. This is coming with that kind of a thing, so this belongs to A party, this belongs to B party, not for me. All, false, this, that, or whatever. So there are a lot of confirmation biases, as we call them. I don't want to get into all those details, but very, very, very important to know what your audience is. So it's not that, there is a knowledge gap and I just provide any content and people are just willing to, take it. No. You have to, fight your way into getting the attention of your audience. So knowing the audience has many, many different dimensions. And probably this is one of the places, and when I come to the do's and don'ts part, I'll talk about this as well. This is one of the places where AI will help us a lot in identifying the audience, because there are a lot of things which has been worked upon, and there are certain areas where AI can be really very good in telling, these are the dimensions on which your audience is find. So target audience, that's the term we use. So what the preferences are, what are the kind of things that they would enjoy. For example, on YouTube, unless if it's anything beyond 10 minutes, people will probably not watch it. They simply do not have time for that. So there are many, many dimensions of this. So before we start talking about content creation, it's very important to understand the requirements, understand what they where they belong to, their likes, dislikes, etc., etc. There is a whole bit of as I said, science on what is how you should approach a particular target audience as. So unless you know who you are writing for, who you are speaking to, content creation will not be very useful. Anyone? The difference between these two approaches? Anyone? What is didactic approach? Yes, please, ma'am.
This is not a very formal answer, but didactic approach might mean that you're kind of preaching and you don't really care whether anybody is listening or how the listener is responding to what you're saying. But with a narrative approach, the response of the listener is important. It is important that the listener is able to relate to the speaker.
Thank you, ma'am.
Kind of story. There's a story element.
Absolutely, that's the key word. Absolutely, thank you so much. That's really nice. So we have these two approaches, and we do that in the class as well. One is the teaching approach. This is A, this is B, this is C, this is D. A leads to B, B leads to C, C leads to D. Live happily ever after. That is one approach. The other approach is to weave your content in a story that people could, relate to. And there are many, advantages of that. And, storytelling as a pedagogical tool is really, really wonderful in many, many senses. First of all, it is real. It is something that you can relate to. Secondly, we are all by nature, we are storytellers. We have lived, for generations, since 10,000 years, we've lived, through storytelling. Television has just replaced that original storyteller who would sit on a rock and who would preach good values and such things. So we are wired into storytelling. We live our lives as stories. We tell our lives as stories. And lot of these complex ideas, which would be very difficult to explain in abstract terms, can be very easily explained in terms of stories. And that's why when you come across good communicators, they would always have some anecdotes to suggest. Because that is something that you relate to, that is something you identify with. And again, there's a science behind that. It's called mirror neurons. I'm sure many of you might have heard about that, mirror neurons. That especially, when we tell a story and the character you identify with is going through some pain, you feel that pain as well. You're a big fan of Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli just, sneaks a catch on the third slip and goes out. You feel as if, oh my God, I have, played that shot and, I got out or something. Or you feel that. Because, these things are very, very basic. That's why these things stay with you. So whenever something, is in a storytelling format, you identify that because it's much more, as I said, a lot of you are from biological sciences and you would understand that. This is something so very real. You feel that real pain. You root for that person. And there have been stories, and I don't want to get into all those kind of morbid stories, but there have been stories where people have given up their lives because their favorite leader died. I'm sure you might have heard across many such stories. What will I do? I mean, there's no life. So that identification is very, very strong. It's not superficial. And that is why somebody who's a good storyteller can, this is one of the most persuasive techniques of digital, content creation. And, when you go to cinema halls these days, don't come, there's no doctor who comes and tells you that don't smoke or don't eat tobacco, otherwise, you might get this disease. There's a person who has lived through that. He comes onto the screen and says that I did that and see where I am. Please don't do that. That is probably something more relatable. When you watch something like Kaun Banega Crorepati, for example, Amitabh Bachchan Saab does not just ask questions and answers. It's not just a quiz show. It's a person there, and that person's life story is played out. And, I was so poor and, I've been through this. Now I'm this. I'll get this and that. Because you identify with that. Why do you identify with that? Because those mirror neurons are at play. So very important as content creators to look into the storytelling part, where you bring the person into the story. It's not abstract. And that's, it works as a very nice classroom tool as well. You ask people their, stories. And from those stories, you bring in your theories or concepts or whatever. So this narrative approach, it will not work every time. And like every good thing, you can't just overdo it. It probably might not be good for every kind of content. But it is something that must be right there on top of our priority list. Because the more it's narrative and the less it's didactic, the more people can relate to it. The more they would make the content more relatable and memorable, as I said. And that's where, because as I said, I was talking of Kahneman and Tversky's fast thinking, slow thinking. They won a Nobel Prize in something called behavioral economics. And Richard Thaler after him, they also got a few years back. So it's a done thing now. It's no longer, just those cold statistics, but about how people make decisions. If I frame the same thing as something, which might be, leading to a loss. So loss aversion is probably more effective than some getting a gain or whatever. I don't have time to get into all those details, but if I frame, if I say that if you don't take this medicine, there is a 33% chance that you might die. If you take this medicine, there is a 67% chance that you might live. The one that talks about dying works more, because that is something that people would relate to more. So those emotional elements are extremely important, and I'll keep on coming about emotional elements, because that the human touch is where we are going to kind of take over AI wherever it matters. Does it make sense so far? Does it? Yes or no, please? Yes. Thank you so much. So whenever, probably the CCF you call it, or the NEP or whatever you call it, everywhere, this outcome based or whatever is so very important, that we want people to, go away with certain takeaways. Or whenever we are at a session, we want people to, have certain takeaways after the session. So unless you decide whether it's a content creation or whether it's a normal class or whether it's any kind of a conversation, we want people to have some kind of takeaways immediately after that. Because what are the key skills they will? I don't want to get into Bloom's taxonomy and all that. I don't want to make it too technical. But what is it that they get? Because unless the outcome is real and immediate, people might not be interested. So, oh, you do this, after 10 years you will, get better or whatever. People want initial results, immediate results. And that's why the field I worked for a few years, the results were immediate. The next day I would see my byline on a newspaper, and the kind of a high that would give was more than, probably at times more than the paycheck at the end of the month. Anyway, so these immediate benefits, long-term benefits, etc., we must be very clear about. But there has to be some immediate takeaways. It can't always be, long-term takeaways. So we come to the part of do's and don'ts, and of using ChatGPT and other tools. I'm sure if you're looking at these pictures, you realize that they're all pictures on all of my slides are from DALL-E 3. So they are all, all the pictures, if you look closely, they've all been, they're all related to the slide that I'm presenting here. So streamlining the content generation process. For brainstorming, it's a fabulous tool. Give me 5 ideas to make an intro to today's class more interesting. Give me 5 ideas to, give me the ending, or give me, 10 kind of outlines for that. So in the process, generating ideas, creating initial drafts, automating repetitive tasks, and I will come to this part of automating in a moment's time again. But this automating repetitive tasks is very, very important. And believe me, whenever there have been new technologies, people have kind of faced off with that in many different ways. People did not want to use calculators. People did not want to use printing machines. Here in Calcutta, I don't want to sound any bit politically correct or incorrect, but in many places people did not want computers to come because they thought that it would take away jobs or whatever. So we have had, resistance to technology all the time. Every age, when people said that, oh my God, you're having printing text, people will forget memory. When we had mobile phones, so we belong to the pre-mobile phone generation. I think many of you are as old as me, and you had your school or college where you did not have mobile phones. Most of you are very young, so not that. So we would remember, 20 landline numbers, including ours, and we did not need to, go back to our notebook. Now we don't even remember our own mobile number. But those tasks are taken care of by others. So we can use that same, as I said, we are cognitive misers, so we can use those cognitive energy on other creative aspects. So whenever we are talking about any kind of a content, very important to first of all, and that's the job of a teacher, because we have to be very clear about your job as a researcher and your job as a teacher. Your job is to make complex ideas simple. That is our primary job. We have to make it relatable to everyone. And that's where, AI comes in. Can you just make it more readable? I mean, a lot of abstruse text, and I want it to be readable. Can you make it a bit more readable? Can you break down the content into smaller parts? Can you give me examples of that? Can you, break it down into the levels? Can you suggest the levels? And of course, if it is fit enough for that, I go back to my earlier point about the narrative approach. Can you weave that into a story for a student in West Bengal coming from this? So the more, engineered your prompt is, the better responses you will get. And the better, you can't just say that, give me an interesting story. That's not enough. That's not sufficient. What are the information? What is the information that exists? What are the problems that need to be tackled in any content generation? For example, if you're creating some content on, say, for example, the Dhwani theory. So what are the things that, I want people to know about in the present context? And how do I approach that? So breaking it down into those simple ideas, and that's where AI will have a very important role to play. Again, I mean, this is very, very, very important. For example, the newspaper I used to work for was called the Asian Age, and we had a number of editions. For example, we had the Bangalore edition and we had the Kolkata edition. So for the Bangalore edition, the same story would show Rahul Dravid as doing very well, and the Kolkata story would show our dear old Dada as doing better, because that's what the audience wants. So that is what we understand by personalization. That's what we know by content confirmation bias. People are looking for that kind of an. If you don't give them that kind of a content, there will be something known as cognitive dissonance. They're real things. They're real biochemicals. I don't want to get into all those names of biochemicals. We have life science teachers here, and they would know better. So if I need to tailor the same content, or I need to personalize it for maybe students in Dharwad in Karnataka, for example, then I'll have to bring in different ideas, and that's where AI will come in, because a lot of research that I would have to do otherwise will be done by them, or in suggesting content in the initial part of the content creation. So employing AI to personalize content for the different segments is what AI does very well, and it could be user behaviors, it could be preferences, it could be demographics, it could be psychographics, it could be any other kind of a thing. And this is something which is always ongoing, because believe me, as I told you, that it's based on all the billions of text documents that it has been trained on. So there's already so much of thing which is already there, and it's building upon that. So it's really very useful when it comes to that. Generating new ideas, even creating visual content. I mean, it's free. I've been told that Midjourney is free for website. I mean, I just got the information yesterday. So if you if you tried Midjourney, I'm sure Midjourney is about generating image. So Midjourney was paid till some time back. For the moment, it's free. So even if you have to create visual content, and I'm sure you understand that whenever there is a presentation or whatever, and when you require some kind of visual input, and it's not just related to just 2D content, it can be 3D content, it can be animation, it can be video, it can be and you already have a lot of video anchors. So creating this kind of interface is simply very useful. Content performance. Now I'll just again give you an example from our field of media studies. Earlier, if a story did well, the best feedback we would get was a lot of phone calls, or maybe even letters addressed to the editor, actual letters, in envelopes or in postcards, and and all those kind of things. And if you got a lot of letters after your story, you are on cloud 9 literally. These days the news metrics are very, very, very advanced. one of the newspapers, I don't want to name newspapers here, but they shut down their Kolkata edition because they were not getting sufficient web traffic. They moved to Pune, where they were getting more web traffic. Which story is working well? People are watching on what kind of equipment? Are they scrolling past? Are they revisiting? Are they watching it again and again? For how long, where, how, etc. So the amount of data that is available is immense. Granular data is immense, and that's probably one of the reasons why OTT content is so very relatable to us. We find, I'm sure, you've seen all those wonderful content like Panchayat and Jamtara and, what have you. And you enjoy all of that because they know that audience wants this, and they have, kind of inputs on audience preferences and all. So these analytical tools or these analytics tools are readily available through artificial intelligence. And that's where, you can monitor content performance in real time. If you have a YouTube channel, of course, YouTube helps you by telling us, people from this age group, this, whatever, this is where they was, this is where they skipped, this is what they did. So this is important because, unless we learn from our own content, we won't get better with that. So AI is provides insights which otherwise would have taken very long or probably would have been expensive as well. So that you can, improve your future content. So analyzing content performance with AI is a very important tool. This part is again absolutely, it's a godsend if I can use that term, because automatically generating subtitles. So for example, if I have a presentation like this and I want to put it out on my YouTube channel, I can automatically generate subtitles for whatever I've been talking here. And it's there might be certain changes required, but generally it's very good. I need translations, I need transcripts, I need different kind of accessibilities. This is where AI has a fabulous role to play. It can translate better than Google Translate, and as I said, because it's organic, because there is reinforcement learning, it gets better and better. So we can use AI to enhance content accessibility, captions, subtitles, even titles, headings, headlines. Review and test AI generated content, or whatever content you have, you can review it so that your quality standards, etc. I'll skip this part and come to this, which is similar. A/B testing. Anyone? What is A/B testing? Or you don't want to expend energy before lunch? You're short on energy already, right? Anyone? A/B testing? Okay, that's very simple. I have two options, this and this. Which is better on that? I have these two, colors, blue and red. So which one works better on this thing? Or I have these things. How can I improve it? I have one in, using the analytical one. I have the narrative part. The other is didactic part. Which is better, or how much better, or whatever. So this A/B testing can be done on various variations, through I think even with the free version, ChatGPT now allows you to upload documents. Does it, or is it only with the plus version? It does. Wonderful. So you can actually kind of compare two versions, and you can get inputs out of that, because as I said, that's such a important tool to have, that I can already know that which one is better, or the machine thinks which one is better. Of course, there are biases, and I'll talk about biases in that don'ts part. So again, why am I writing that? And I'll come back to that in the don'ts section as well, because ChatGPT is good at writing 1,000 words in 1 second, and in 10 seconds I have 5,000 words. We have so much of content, and that's where the impulse is there to use as much as possible. But of course, we understand and we know that there are all these kind of resistance to content, or if I have lots and lots of words on the slide, probably it's not very useful, or people are reading the slides, they're not even listening to me, so that's probably not the right thing. So whatever content we have to do, we have to kind of show and tell when required, but it's just the showing part is more important. So just because we have these programs does not mean, especially when we had all those color palettes. I'm sure you might have realized that initially the newspapers used to be zillions of colors, whatever color they would, there's this color here, this color there, and so on and so forth. And then they realized that probably that's more distracting. So if the content is if the balance is towards the more side, we should take it towards the less side. That's why I have so I end the do's part. Now I come to the don'ts part as well, and I'm sure we'll have time for whatever questions we have. So this is important. Don't depend entirely on AI to create content without human input or oversight. And this is important. I mean, the other day I was in a college, taking a viva of students, some wonderful script, but they used the word tapestry. And if you use ChatGPT, often enough, you understand that tapestry is rings a bell. ChatGPT. It delves into, anything delves into is ChatGPT. Looking into the nuances of this approach or whatever. In fact, again, this is not for serious. One of the PhD reports, the last line was regenerate response. So our good friend, copied everything, including regenerate response in the answer. So it has actually happened. I have, I'm not making it up. It's there. If you want, I can show you off the record. So it's there. So that insight is necessary, and there are ways in which you can say that. You can train it in your own style. You can tell it make it more active. You can tell it make it more lucid. You can ask it to cut down on cliches. You can ask it to give more anecdotes. You can make sure that that you have more pointer words. Therefore, since, hence, etc. So there are various ways. You can ask it not to go into nominalizations. Anybody? What is a nominalization? Nominalization? Okay, no one from linguistics, right? Wonderful. So that's another new thing that we're going to talk about. So a lot of language, a lot of bad language is about converting a good verb into an abstract noun. Let me explain. Good English writing is about strong, lively, image-inducing verbs. They destroyed the building. There was a destruction. So when I use the term destruction, there was a proposition. They proposed. So when I use a verb, it makes more sense. It's more clear, it's more direct. But when I use a nominalization, what is a nominalization? The same verb, I'm converting it to an abstract noun. There was a proposal for the decision to be undertaken. This is like, you have to keep on reading again and again. So if you ask ChatGPT to stop nominalizations, use more active verbs, probably it will delve less into those nuances, and the tapestry will be fair enough for us. But I don't know why it keeps on, delving in tapestry and nuances. Till now, by now they should have known that, I'm sure they'll get better. But it's very important to have that human insight. That, as I said, this impulse is there. And we are by nature, we learn how to, be economic with everything. If I can buy the same thing for 5 rupees, why will I spend 500 rupees? If I'm getting the same stuff for 5 seconds, why will I spend 5 hours on that? But, okay, let's have a balance between 5 seconds and 5 hours. Give it maybe half an hour or 1 hour and, make those changes, and then it will be, much better. More nuanced, actually. And that again is very important. Do not automate too many aspects of content creation. Because, I'm sure many of you are working on Canva. And Canva, has that option of, magic write. Or all those. Or you can just put it, put one full paragraph and ask it to make a presentation out of it. It helps, if you do not have time or whatever. But probably that automation will not be good as, where you have actually planned out, okay, I'll say this, I'll probably crack this joke, this or whatever. So that thing is, missing there. So probably using this to, this particular thing was based on the command that give me an image which goes well with don't automate too many aspects of content creation. So DALL-E gave me this thing. Probably it might have given me something better, but it thought this would work. So probably less automation. We will use, as I said, whenever there are repetitive tasks, I will use it. But if I use it for everything, give me a good content. No, it will generate something. It is never going to tell you I will not do that. No, it will always give you something. It will always say, I'm sorry, I'll go back, and it will come back. But automating too much of that stuff is probably going to lead to less creativity. And again, this is very important. Don't use AI tools without properly training and configuring them to suit your specific needs and guidelines. Very important. If you're using Canva, just know all the stuff there. If you're using ChatGPT, know how they integrate size, space, or how they integrate Research GPT, or how they integrate all those things in there, and that works better. And these days, there is always some training material on YouTube. There is always something there for us to learn. So it's important that we spend some time, and and there are courses from all over. It's better to get a hang of it, and then try making the most of it, because otherwise it gets into a bad routine. Our college accountant is going to retire next month. He still uses Excel as a word processor. I'll explain. He types all the figures there, then he opens out his calculator, and then he types 500 plus 700 plus 800 etc., and then equals to, he writes them. He actually does it. I mean, if you want to see him, you're welcome to my college. He knows that we make fun of him on that, and he probably enjoys that. But the point is that unless you know the best way, you're not going to maximize it. And believe me, there's always so much to learn. There is always something new happening. There's always a lot of these things going on. So don't skip training AI tools, and they're there. I mean, we just need to go and get a hang of it. Even very simple things, even something like Microsoft Word. I mean, you will be amazed, a lot of things that it can do, including putting in references in APA style and so on and so forth. There are so many things we learn. We can do a lot of statistics with MS Excel, a lot of, regression and this and that. So there is always, something to learn there. There's always some new prompt to learn there. There are various ways of prompt engineering. I actually have a lot of material on that, and I did a session with Indian Oil officials recently on training them how to use all those prompts to get the most efficient response. So we can do that. Sensitive content, controversial topics. Many people, lawyers, they've lost cases, or they've kind of been pulled up for wrong information or whatever. It's very important to kind of go again, on sensitive or controversial topics, because it might be framed in a certain way which can be very, very difficult for the other person to take it. People from biosciences would know the problem with the amygdala. Anyone? What is the amygdala? What is its use? The part of the brain, the primitive part of the brain. What does it do? Amygdala, AMYGDALA. Anyone? Anji? Lizard brain. Yeah, what does it do? Anyone? Okay, you want me to speak? Right. It. Because it might be controversial. Okay. Right. So, amygdala prepares you for danger. And say for example, there is some kind of sound just outside there. Something walking in a jungle, and there are something is moving around the bushes. You have an amygdala. You think that there is danger. You back off. You don't go there. You don't have an amygdala. You're not scared. You just walk in, and then over and out. It prepares you for danger. Whenever there is something, if something is said or something is acted out, which appears like danger to you, then your rational response will not be there. You will not listen to anything after that. আমি হেরে যাব, আমার দল হেরে যাবে, আর শুনবো না. I mean, this is there. This is real. I mean, please Google amygdala, or you might ask me more about that. We use it for, talk about conversational intelligence. If something endangers your existence, or it endangers your identity, or it endangers things that you believe in, your response will be fight, flight, or freeze. আপনি কিছু জানেন, you don't know nothing. You don't know anything, sorry. Or flight, bolun to, I will not listen to you. Freeze, you're telling me I don't respond. So, I mean, if people stop responding to your content the first time around, you're lost. There is no rational response. It's a reflex action. That's why we say it's a primitive part of the brain, because there's a reflex action. You do not, there will be no reason after that. There will be full stop. People are not going to listen to anything beyond that. And that's why we say that it's very, very important to know that, it's not that audience are just waiting to listen to you. You have to shake them off, and you have to make sure that you get their attention in the best possible way. Otherwise, so sensitive content, it's not just the legal, implications. It's not just about, the ethical implications. It's just that it's very, very practically difficult to get the attention of somebody that I'm talking to, or to get their rational response, if their amygdala is activated. And these are very real things. And that's why when you see somebody responding irrationally to something, you must know that there is something biochemical, there is something very real there. It might not be something that you might not understand. For you, it might be very simple. For the other person, it might have triggered many of those things which probably appear like danger to them. So that's a real response, and you have to understand that. I've spoken about that. AI is good, and AI allows a lot of content. It creates a lot of content in a matter of minutes, and it makes sense. Grammatically, it has been so good. There is no full stop, comma, no apostrophe. Nothing is wrong ever. So one way people try to, if they have to get across those plagiarism software, is to bring in more mistakes so that it doesn't appear machine made. Humans make mistakes, machines don't. So, but churning out large volumes of content at the expense of quality should be, that's something that we must avoid. Believe me, we have to use ChatGPT. All our students are using it. I'm sure all our, evaluation techniques, examinations, everything will have to change. AI will bring in more changes than mobile technology and internet has done, because it, kind of impacts all the different levels of computing, every level. So it is going to change a lot of things. It will. I mean, so we have to make sure that we make the best use of it. And one of them is by using, as I said, creating meaningful, well-crafted content. Clickbait. That again is a problem. I'll just explain what is, I'm sure many of you have come across those kind of content on social media, where the headline, kind of excites your anticipation. What is there? And then you click it, the story is something, a damn squib, I mean, nothing there. So people use clickbaits to get more clicks, but it gets you bad publicity. So, using AI tools to create, because if you ask them that give me a catchy thing, it might give you some kind of a clickbait headline, and your content doesn't go with that. If your content doesn't go with that, you're lost. So again, using it, so when you're using it for titles or headlines or whatever, we have to ensure that that thing is not there. Don't forget to add a human element, personal insights, storytelling, emotional connections. I mean, the emotional connections are always there. I mean, it's there on our literature, Indian aesthetics, the rasa theory and everything is there. The bhavas, I mean, this Thai bhav, the Vyabhichari bhav, and what have you, Sattvic bhav, they're there. So it's there. I mean, then we also have affect theory, which suggests that, we first have an emotional response and then we have a reasonable response. So emotions are extremely important when it comes to communication or when it comes to persuasion. So you have to bring in that element into your content. And that's where, the human touch becomes more important. And that's where probably, more than AI, your human touch will be required. Those personal insights, those personal emotions, those personal connections, those personal bringing up your mirror neurons so that you identify more. So those things will be there always, so that is required. There will be potential biases. It depends on what the training has been there. So there have been, a lot of people who suggest, and again, the global south is at the receiving end, because most of the content is from most of the digital content which has been used as a training set is from the global north, and that's why a lot of those biases are there. So especially from scholars or researchers from the global south, we have to be aware of how artificial intelligence might perpetuate stereotypes. We have to be very clear about those kind of things, and it is giving you that statutory warning that ChatGPT can make mistakes, so make sure that those biases are there. Thank you very much. I think we have come to 12:45, are we?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Pandey, for this wonderful session. Can we open the house and take any questions if there is? Yeah, there's one already. May we have the lights, please, of the auditorium? We have questions for you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you are. But not through the microphone, without the microphone.
I'm going through the microphone. There was a slide, analyze content performance with AI. Can you show it again, please?
This one?
No. In the do's. Okay, I want to know the meaning of this word.
Which one?
Prepare, revving, medi, future. Is this an actual?
Oh, no. Don't get into that. That is hallucination.
Oh, that's something.
That is
That's something.
DALL-E 3 hallucination.
Oh, so this is an example where I can go wrong with AI?
Yeah, of course. That's why, I've emphasized on the human touch. That's why I've asked you about, revising and going through and all that. So probably this particular thing was, and it does make mistakes with DALL-E, with image part. Because right now, it's very good with the text part and all. But it's getting better. And even today, if I, start creating image, for example, I give it a diagram, it will get wrong with the text inside those images.
So there's a potential danger of using these types of softwares for making slides.
No. Let's come back again. Once you realize that the text might have those kind of things, you might use it to just suggest that, okay, these things are there. Or just to emphasize that you must have the human element there. But that slide is just, kind of a exhibit. The entire thing is about the content. But how you use that content, that potential danger is of course there with everything. But the point is how you're using it. Whether you realize that this problem is there, and if it's not there, as I said, for automating repetitive tasks, for creating ideas, for creating outlines, for summarizing long text, many good examples. There might be one problem right now with the text inside images, but that is just one bad thing. It's just one of the side effects of your antibiotics, right?
But if people are more gullible, then suppose our students, they do not know to distinguish whether this is wrong or right, and they just copy this preparing, which is a wrong word from the start, and there are potential pitfalls. As educators, we must be very, very much aware of these pitfalls. That is what I want to emphasize.
+1.
Thank you.
And conventional transfer.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What is the basic, why they are called pre-trained transformers and conventional transformers? Can you explain it, please?
Okay. I will just talk about the pre-trained transformer. I'm not going to get into the conventional part. It has been trained, as I said, ChatGPT or any other LLM, large language model. It has been trained on billions of, as I said, documents, billions of documents which are in the digital format. It has been trained on their data set. It has been trained. For example, this is nothing new. I mean, this training has been there. This machine learning has been there for very long, because that's how Google tells us that this is spam and this is not spam. That is how things have been classified for very long. That is how people tell, okay, he is someone who might kind of be not a good person to give medical insurance to you, because he might, or he might not be a good person to give a loan to, because he might default or whatever. So because it has been trained on a data set, it has been pre-trained on data set, that's why it can, earlier it would just probably predict the next word, which it always does. You take out your phone, you type something on WhatsApp, it will tell you the next word. It might be that. You're typing on Gmail, and it's been there for at least 5 or 6 years, if not more. It will tell you that this is the next word. So that kind of output technology with transformers have been there. But this one, since it has been trained on such a massive data set, that's why it can answer everything from economics to politics to almost everything, and it can even create answers on something which it hasn't been trained on. So generative, it generates a lot of, it's not just predictive. It used to be predictive earlier. So it generates massive content. Pre-trained, because it has been trained on all those data sets to work on one kind of a output. And transformer, the technology. That's why
that means it will go on increasing day by day as the data set changes.
And with every time you give it a thumbs up or you give it a thumbs down,
it is ever changing.
It is reinforcing. That's why people once said that maybe ChatGPT will take over us and will create its own. So there have been there have been a lot of scientists who believe that there might be a time where it will not even require human inputs. But let's not talk get too dystopian. We'll take care of that, and of course we'll have a lot of Hollywood movies on how they save the planet from ChatGPT 10. So till that time, there's Devanjana.
Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation, my alma mater, Professor Umashankar Pandey.
He was my senior at the university.
Wonderful presentation. I have two questions. Question number one is, recently I have written an article on June 28th, more precisely in Telegraph, Artificial Intelligence and the Media Industry, the Future Ahead, Bleak or Bright. I am a bit apprehensive because we are in the same fraternity. Already many media jobs are redundant, especially the back-end tagging, transcription, copy editing, even anchoring. You must be knowing the AI anchors are coming. So we are coming up with students, hundreds and thousands of mass communication graduates and postgraduates are coming up. On the contrary, at this point of time, more precisely at this crucial juncture, there is no as such course in artificial intelligence in media studies across the country. So these students will become redundant. Once I was working, I could remember on those days of Times Internet Limited, when I was the copy editor and the senior content editor, we had two softwares. You must be knowing, one is called doctors.html, one is called netmechanic.com. The same thing which is AI doing, we can do with this. We used to handle with huge content, like the content of AP or AFP. So I think these things are old is gold. I can pronounce this old is gold. So AI, now it is AI, but we had these softwares and we do this by engaging huge content. So what is your opinion on this, how to counter this and how to equip our students by which they can handle this AI and their job is ensured in the coming days? My question is a bit long, sorry.
If I have to do all those things, you have to make me the Chief Minister of Bengal or whatever, ensuring jobs and everything.
That will be a Herculean task.
Anyway, jokes apart, off the record, please. Anyway, so very important to understand certain things. Hanji? Not me. No, ensuring jobs and all that, it's beyond our reach. So we can just talk about certain things. See, I'm sure you realize that there were a lot of jute mills in our country, and most of them closed down. And these people, unless you give them upskilling, or unless you give them some another skill to take care of the changing world, you are not going to just safeguard their job just by telling them, okay, let it be, and we will take care. So you have to look at the digital ecosystem in a different way. It will be there. And AI is not going to replace humans. As an incorrigible optimist, I don't think that, we are going to change. I mean, there were people and, we grew up listening to all those massive lectures about how computer is going to make sure that we do not get any job. Here I am, I have a job, I mean, from that generation, which took up computers. I mean, we were the ones, who put our hands on the computers for the first time. So we will have to, this is, again, as I said, it's an ongoing process. I mean, there is technology, there is a social construction of technology, there are these usages. A lot of those jobs are redundant because they are not required. Who wants a content writer these days? Why would you? Old Uttam Kumar films, there was always people, taking down stenographic notes. Email stopped all that. I mean, there will be these changes. You are not going to, you're not going to, just stay back wherever you were. We will have to change our way of, teaching. We will have to change our way of evaluation. We will have to give them, as it is, students, it's very tough to keep them in a classroom. So we have to give them exercises, project-based, this, that, or whatever, so that they come out and they do these tasks. Because they are the ones, who can adapt to this technology very, very fast. AI is not going to replace us. But someone who uses AI will replace us. If I don't use AI, if I don't use the technicals, I mean, when the computers came in, there were senior reporters who never filed stories on computers. Hey, I'm going to likhe dena, bhai. I hope everyone understands Bangla. So just write it for me. I don't know how to, write it on the computer. But eventually they had to. On the Shialda platform, there were huge queues because people had a lot of trouble, Bali jaben kothay B khujbo tarpore L khujbo. I mean, hate dile ticket, I mean, if they had to give a hand ticket, it was faster. But, trying to give it a computer thing, it took a lot of time. But they have, kind of gotten used to it. So, there will be different kinds of jobs, creating these templates, creating other kind of inputs, hosting these things, having a smaller, I mean, there have been a lot of theories on that. About network society, how, it will no longer be like those massive business firms, it will be smaller. And as they said that, I mean, there are many theories on that. I don't want to spoil your lunch by getting into those theories. But I'm hopeful the future will always be bright. And of course, Indian people and Chinese products, they will always survive. So we are, wherever you go, you'll find Indians everywhere. Shah Rukh Khan, he made Swades in 2004. And he said he actually went to NASA and, he wanted to show the Goras in the screen. Wherever they would put the, camera, there would be some Indians behind. He said that if I show Indians, it would appear I have recorded in Bollywood. I mean, so let's better. So wherever you go, you walk into Google, you'll find some people speaking Telugu, Bangla, Hindi or whatever. They're there. So we'll take care, don't worry. Indians will be very good with that. And we are already known as IT specialists. And there are reasons for that. I don't want to get into that. So we'll take care. I mean, the rest of the world might need to worry. We are fine with that. Yeah.
I have a very basic question. It goes to the slide where you focused on narratives and didactic. Now, it is absolutely true that we need not follow a watertight compartment of kind of delivering through the didactic. But narratives, there's a problem. One problem that I face, I personally support the narratives, personal narratives being used and focused on. But there's a debate. There's a whole school of thought which goes about to, doubt the reliability and validity, the extent to which narratives can be relied on and should not be relied on, and the extent to which it can be worked out. So how do you think when, the human touch is there, but there's also an element of, extraneous variables and other variables kind of flowing into it. So how do you think, since AI is basically on data fed in and, you said the whole pandemonium of data there, but how do you think this particular element of, again, a bias or maybe an element of these extraneous variables coming in, how and to what extent can AI maybe be a control factor to this? So I do not know.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I mean, there are various ways of looking, at it. One of them is there was this gentleman called Edward D. Bono, and he wrote a wonderful book called How to Make Things More Interesting, and that's, I mean, it's available. I mean, I'm sure all of you know about all those sites where to download it from. So the idea is that it's just that people will not just take any content that I give them. In terms of digital content, in terms of any kind of a content, it's that there are a lot of distractions. There are a lot of areas where they might not be fully attentive to me. So how do I break that barrier, and how do I get into their realm of thought? And that's where maybe an anecdote helps. I'm not saying that the entire thing would be put in there, but using anecdotes, using narrative elements to highlight a more complex part of it, so that it's more relatable, so that it's not just abstract. As I said, it will not always work, but at least bring in more narrative, bring in more kind of how to make things interesting, bring in ways of making people relate to these things in real life terms, to things that they enjoy. So there are a lot of ways you can do that through role plays and this and that or whatever, but idea is to get across this barrier, and not to assume that just because there is a knowledge gap, whatever I say, people are waiting to listen to me. No, I have to ensure that I break that barrier. And if I keep repeating the same story, the same joke, the same manner, it doesn't work. I mean, unless you feel, it doesn't work. It's too mechanical. But looking at these options, that trying the narrative approach along with other things, maybe having it as a dessert, not as a main course, or as an appetizer. I'm talking in quite lunch synonyms, right?
Sir, I just wanted to thank you for this fascinating presentation. My take home is a lot actually. I gained a lot from this, and I got quite excited through the paper.
Can you record it and play it twice?
And what I wanted to just clarify is I am indeed here from a linguistics department, and as you might well know that there is a kind of resistance in the linguistics, though we are not actually confined to linguistics. We never have been. We are more interdisciplinary than any other discipline probably. So what I just wanted to say is that there is a kind of resistance among us, because we fear that AI will never have that kind of nuanced approach, that it might just lose out on the nuances. That's exactly our fear. And the thing that you mentioned about anecdotes and all, suppose we or anybody else is preparing lectures or presentations, and how can we rely on AI to actually come up with the right sort of anecdotes? I mean, will it ever get to that kind of nuanced stage? Will it ever get to that kind of human intelligence, that level of simulation?
You're treading into something that I didn't want to talk about today: artificial general intelligence, where it actually thinks like a human being and all. But it is it gives you many options. You ask AI to give you 10 options in which give me 10 ways in which to put it into a story format for undergraduate students of a college in North Calcutta. It will give you options, and you can work on the nuances from there. So all the hard work that you had to look at for for getting those options, you get there. And of course, I don't know whether you study our ancient linguistics. Do you have Vakya Padhyam or Sphota theory and all that? You don't?
No, I am from the Department of English.
Oh, I see. So there are a lot of things that we go back to our classical areas, and we realize that language is not just a carrier. It's something that reveals something that is already there.
Yes.
So there are lot many ways of looking at language in that sense, but we are getting there. But the idea, the simple thing that you can realize here is that it helps automate a lot of those repetitive tasks. You said, give me 10 options of putting that in a humorous story, or give me 10 jokes, or give me 10 tragic stories, or give me 10 examples how it worked and all. And if you give me ChatGPT, I can show you right now. So it will keep on working. And let's have more sessions on ChatGPT for teachers wherever we can. So probably we need to learn from each other more and more, and we have to get better, because our students, as ma'am said so rightly, our students are using it all the time. We have to make sure that whenever there is a tapestry, nuance, delving into the landscape, we know that it's ChatGPT.
they're not even doing it themselves. They're just getting them off cyber cafes. Somebody else is
As I
doing
said,
it for them.
many of us do as well. Regenerate response is also copied.
Actually, so.
Do we have? Oh, yeah, one more, please.
Yeah, so just I have a small question that actually you spoke about this very making the content, determining the audience and all that. But the question is that when we speak from a particular position, a position of power, or maybe that thing. So like say for example, and when we talk about the digital content like social media or anything, like say you teach in a college, and before the internal examination you put a picture of yourself on the Instagram and it actually look horrible in that, but since before the internal examination you are the teacher, so people, the comments would come, there's a lot of likes that, oh yes sir, you're looking fabulous, you're looking fascinating. So just my question is that when we use AI to reach the audience in the creation of the digital content, I mean, is it a way to make an assessment of the person who is creating the content, or this position or something like that?
See, I don't want to get into the criticality because, the questions of power, authority and all that, they are, what one would call the critical approach. I'm not getting there. But you have answered a part of the question yourself. When you say that the student might do this, this and this, you are actually assuming that you're talking to a student and the student might do that. So once you know you're reaching out to that student, you know what your response will be. Arey yaar, ye to aise hi bolta. He just says like that. So we know what to expect. The point is that to determine what would be the right audience would have been difficult. I would have to go through all that, inputs and all. But AI helps me to determine that a lot faster than it would. There will be changes, there will be nuances that I have to work upon, but it can be worked upon. The critical aspect will be there. Probably we'll get more options to write papers on that. The power authority of teachers in AI blended classrooms and all. So those things will be there. But as I said, these are two different parts. One is the research part where we'll be creating knowledge on all those kind of things. The teaching part where I have to make things simple for students. And these kind of inputs are going to make my life easier. Believe me, I mean, I don't know whether I'm going to just have ChatGPT, put a syllabus into it, ask it to create 50 multiple choice questions with the right answers. It will do that in 30 seconds. So it is going to make your life a lot easier for us. And you can do that. Just put it, any syllabus. That this is the syllabus. From each unit, give me 5 questions and create multiple choice questions. It's much easier. You have to, look into manuscript, look at errors, etc. It's helping out automate those kind of things so that we can use our cognitive resources on other better things. Thank you so much for this wonderful question, and I have taken 10 minutes of your lunch time. I hope you pardon me for that.
Friends, just before we break for lunch, I would like to tell you something that those of you who were present yesterday would know that we have with us in this workshop Dr. Jagat Bhushan Nadda, who is the director of CEC, and he had been present yesterday for the inauguration program, and he's also with us in Kolkata, but he was very busy from the morning for his online meetings with the UGC upstairs, and he has now come and joined us. He would like to interact with you a bit because there are many new faces, and we would request him to come up on stage and say a few words to the people who have come, who have joined us today. Please, sir.
Good afternoon. Well, I wouldn't take much of your time because you've already spent quite a bit of time, and then we have stepped over your lunch time as well. Nevertheless, I'm Jagat Bhushan Nadda, working with Consortium for Educational Communication, and we are having workshops across India so that the teachers are also made to know what artificial intelligence is and how to use these tools and how these tools are reason is ratio opportunity and get enrolled. So this is the opportunity that we get, and that is why we are having this kind of workshop here in Kolkata. This is also our center, and it is one of the good centers. We look forward your participation in it. You learn out of it, and the experts are there. I was listening to the question. I just barged in when the question was being asked. Probably my area is management otherwise, and organization development and organizational behavior is my area. So I was more keen to understand what power you mean by, and how it goes and how it works on us. I was getting tempted more discussion to be on that than artificial intelligence as far as I'm concerned. But nevertheless, I'm so happy. Look for that matter, and interact with students and understand the need of the country. The intellect and IQ is randomly distributed. It has got nothing to do with language, English. We did have a lot of divide of English and the local languages. A lot of talent is hidden in local languages. कई बार मैं सोचता भी हूँ कि अपनी ज़िंदगी में 10 साल स्कूल में पढ़ा, 6 पीरियड्स होते थे. एक पीरियड लिटरेचर का था, इंग्लिश लिटरेचर, और एक पीरियड था इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज का. 10 साल का 1/3 ज़िंदगी मैंने सिर्फ फॉरेन लैंग्वेज को सीखने में लगा दी, और वो अभी भी ठीक से नहीं सीखी है ना. शायद मैं अगर अपनी भाषा में पढ़ पाता तो ज़्यादा भूगोल जानता, ज़्यादा इतिहास जानता, ज़्यादा हिसाब जानता, हर सब्जेक्ट ज़्यादा जानता अगर अपनी भाषा में पढ़ा होता तो. ये दिमाग में बात आती है. और वैसे भी लैंग्वेज इज़ जस्ट a mode of communication. This language will also go when you go to social media. We don't understand the words what the younger generation is using. So it is going to change. No language has got a life of more than 500 years. तो मेरा आप लोगों से गुजारिश है कि ये जो आप यहाँ पा रहे हैं इसको कहीं यूज़ कीजिए और अच्छे कोर्सेज बनाइए, इसके एडवांटेजेस लीजिए. चैलेंजेस ऑफ एआई पर अभी मत जाइए. चैलेंजेस ऑफ एआई बहुत हैं, है ना, लेकिन अभी हमारा एजेंडा डिफरेंट है. वी नीड टू एड्रेस दोज चैलेंजेस ऑल्सो, विच विल वर्क ऑन इट. सो आई विल नॉट होल्ड यू फ्रॉम योर लंच. Go ahead, and thank you very much to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those encouraging words. We will now break for lunch. We will come back at 2 o'clock for our next session on generation of concept maps using AI techniques by Dr. Onul Acharya. So we break for lunch and we'll be back at 2. Thank you.